Hey guys, before we jump into this video, I did just want to give a real quick shout out to a few high tier patrons. November is officially 1 year of Patreon, and that is fucking outstanding. Honestly, when I set that thing up, I didn't expect for it to do really anything. I didn't think that people valued the channel enough to want to support it, and I didn't think that any of the rewards that I were offering were ever going to be good enough for your guys' money. But after a year, we have 75 patrons, which is the most that we've ever had, and you guys are definitely proving me wrong and making me think that I made a great decision for the channel, as well as for you guys. So a huge shout out to Daphne Lavoie, Nightshade, Tyler Rizzuto, Matthew Lewis, and Sir Smiles. Thank you guys all very, very much. I know most of you guys have been around for most of the year, and that is fucking awesome. I hope that you guys have enjoyed your rewards, and the channel wouldn't be the same without you. So on behalf of me and everybody watching, thank you guys very much. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Good here at the House of Masks, the only mask channel that's getting kind of fat. And as you can tell by the title of this video, we are finally doing another Slipknot Oddball mask update video. Finally! I did one of these a couple years ago when I had just started doing oddball masks, and that video is actually where I coined the term oddball. What's going on, guys? AJ here at the House of Masks, bringing you another daily video. Today's video is going to be on my Slipknot Oddballs mask set. And the reason I call these ones oddballs is because the band either used them in a music video or for a one-time use, or they were on the side of the stage or something of the sort. I just needed something to call that type of mask, and they were all oddballs. So when I stuck them together in that video, I just called them oddballs. And ever since then, the term has stuck around. It has sprouted many other collectors to do oddball collections, and that's super cool to see. And it's also transitioned into other types of collecting, such as Buckethead and Michael Myers. I had no idea that that was going to get so popular and that so many people were going to enjoy that. So I kept collecting oddballs. I kept doing video unboxings on those masks, giving you guys the information that I could on those, and I'm finally going to be doing a group update. Now I'll just be running down the line of my oddball collection and showing them off individually, and at the end of this video I will give you guys a full update of the entire oddball collection as of now, and that'll be that. Now there are videos on almost every single one of these masks individually if you guys would like to learn more than what I'm going to be able to tell you in this video. Typically for a video that's this large I would try to script it, but I honestly am just sick of waiting to get this video out, and I know that you guys are too. You guys have wanted this video for a very, very long time, and I kept putting it off for multiple reasons, such as not wanting to script the video and then shoot it because I always leave something out, constantly getting new oddballs. I didn't want to make the video and then 2 weeks go by and I have 2 or 3 new oddball masks in my collection. And honestly, since I've been on the daily video thing where I put out a video almost every single day, one like this was going to take me a lot more work because it is a lot more work. There's a lot of filming that's going to go into this one, a lot of information that's going to be spewed out of my stupid fucking mouth, a lot of masks to look at, and a lot of moving them off of the shelf, which I try not to do. Typically once a mask is on the shelf, it only gets moved around a couple of times a year, and that's for like cleaning and shooting different videos or if I sell one. So yeah, I'm going to be doing my best. Please bear with me, and here is your Slipknot Oddball Mask Collection video update, or update video. So I guess the first one that we'll pull out is going to be the actual Slipknot mascot mask. I feel like that's the most fitting to start this video since it is the oddball created by Slipknot for Slipknot fans. Sean actually created this mask and it was used on the cover of Volume 3 as well as in the Vermilion video. It was later sold as the Maggot mask, and it's just kind of the mascot of the band. It's like a very Slipknot style mask. It's almost like a gross leather face type mask, and it's got a zipper and it's got some stitches and some metalwork and some straps, so it is very like BDSM, like the original Slipknot style masks. And I don't think that it's a particularly cool mask, but it is what it is. I actually took this copy, which was an official one, and rehauled it, and there is a video of me doing the entire rehaul process, adding the real zipper, adding the real stitches, adding the actual leather straps, and doing some slight paintwork and stuff like that. If you guys want to go check that out, it is on my channel, and if I remember, I will put the link in the description. So, Slipknot Maggot mask is how we are going to be opening this oddball mask video. Alright, next up is less of a mask and more of a hat, and this is an oddball look that Joey Jordison had during the MFKR days. There is a photo set showing a couple photos of Joey wearing this devil hat. This is a mental devil hat, and they were still made when I bought this, but ever since I got it and made a video on it, they've been sold out. They were super fucking cheap, so I assume that people saw that video video and tracked it down for themselves, and now it's just up in the air as to if we'll ever see them again. Probably your best chance is to get them secondhand, because this company is obviously old enough that these were made in the MFKR days, so they probably just sold off the rest of what they had, and they are no longer made. So, mental red devil hat for Joey. That is another oddball, but it is not a mask, it is a hat. I paired it with the mask because I think that it makes a cool display, and I think that it was worthy of being in my oddball set. Moving right along, we have my 1987 Celebrations Dalmatian mask, and this is a Sid Wilson oddball. Sid is seen wearing this in a photo with a fan, and it is still very unclear why he actually had this. Some say that he had like a DJ persona back in the day that was like DJ Doggy Dog or something like that. Other people think that he was just using this as a way to like get around different festivals and tours and stuff without being recognized. But yeah, this is a very, very rare oddball. I only know of a handful of people that own these, being that they are just a random Celebrations mask, which isn't a real well-known company, and the fact that it's from 1987. Most of these have just disappeared, and this one is actually getting kind of crispy, so I think I'm going to be sending it off to a friend to have it foam filled before there's actual evidence of rot aside from the mask hardening, but once it's foam filled, it's going to be hard anyway, so I'd like to keep it at least in the shape that it's in right now, and maybe in the future track down one that doesn't have the eyes cut out yet. Sid's did have the eyes cut out, and I got a super good deal on this because the eyes were cut out. And they still pop up from time to time, but it is very, very rare, so I would like to get another one for the set that is unconverted and just have this one be the actual Sid copy. But yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Glad to have this in my oddball set, and I think this might have been one of the ones that kind of made me want to do oddball collecting, because when I finally got this, it was like a whole different feeling of tracking down a rare Slipknot mask, because it's a rare Slipknot mask that people don't particularly know about, so it kind of just made me want to extend that part of the collection and show it off to everybody here on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, so definitely proud of this one for sure. Next up, we have an American female mask. This is the transparent smiling female mask, and a lot of people wonder why I have this in my oddball set, and it is actually because Clown wore one of these in a random photo on Instagram. And I actually think that there was more than one photo, but he deletes photos so often that it's hard to fucking tell. I don't even know if I still have that photo. I am going to look for it, and if I do have it, it'll be right here. And I don't think his is an American female, but there's so many different versions of this that it's hard to pinpoint exactly which one it is, especially with the filters on the photo. So I just have an American in there as a stand-in until I can get something that I feel is closer. But honestly, I think this looks pretty close to the one he has, so I don't know. It's just a nice cheap oddball to throw into the set, and I had like 5 of these laying around, so I went ahead and just stuck one on a mannequin and stuck it in the oddball set. And I don't really have anything else to say about that one. We'll end it on the burp. Next up is the most recent oddball to be added to my set. I didn't make an actual video on this, but I did talk about it at the beginning of another video. This is a very cheap, very common red devil mask, and it is obviously metallic. And I forget exactly who pointed this out, but Clown posted a photo of one of his masks with this one underneath and the horn sticking out, and it actually almost looks like the Clown mask has horns itself because of the metallic finish. But we compared the horns, and you can actually see through Clown's mask some of the sculpt of the actual devil, and this is the one, and they sell this through a bunch of different companies, so you can pretty much find it anywhere. I've seen them sold at Walmart, I've seen them sold at Kroger, different pharmacies, stuff like that, and this one is tagged for $7.97, so this was a fun little oddball for people to add. Definitely the first oddball that we've seen from the We Are Not Your Kind era, and I definitely think that it made that Clown mask look even cooler. So yeah, this was an easy one, and definitely the latest that I've added to my collection. Next up is one of the more interesting and one of the goofier ones that I've added to my collection. This is actually a combination of things, and this was pointed out by my buddy Kenny at Schizo555 on Instagram. He has one of the most impressive Slipknot mask collections I've ever seen, and he is a stickler for detail, so he pointed this out and put one together prior to me, and it inspired me to go do the same. So track down the accurate hat, we've got some white glasses, and the accurate chicken mask, and I don't know why Sid Wilson was wearing this, but he was. There's a pretty old photo on his Instagram of him like flexing and maybe pointing out a tattoo, I think, and he's got this get-up on, so I'm sure that he was just wearing the glasses and the hat, and somebody had him stick that chicken mask on, and he threw those on over top of it, so yeah, definitely makes for an eye-catcher on the oddball shelf for sure. Next up is probably my least favorite, and honestly, I don't even think that I want to consider this one an oddball, just for the simple fact that it is a fan wearing it, but I found this really cheap and figured why not, and I've seen this classic photo of Slipknot for the longest time with a fan that's wearing wearing this mask, and it is pretty fucking silly. So I don't know, I think I paid like 11 or 12 bucks for this thing, and it was still tagged and in good condition, so I went ahead and added it. But it is a Forum's Novelty deer mask. And yeah, like I said, I don't even know if I want to consider this one an oddball, because it is a fan wearing it, and I don't really like the idea of making fan masks into oddball masks, because there are so many different ones and they're just not really special. I like to keep the oddballs related to the band, so if it's a band member that's worn the mask once, a band member wearing it in a music video, or someone else wearing it in a music video, or some of the crew or staff wearing the mask, then that's what I like to keep it as. But it is what it is. I mean, it's a stupid fucking deer mask, so I don't know, I guess that's up to you guys. Like, would you consider fan masks a part of the oddball set, or should they be their own thing, like well-known fan masks or something like that? I'm going with the latter. Moving our way down the line, we have here a vinyl Paper Magic Group clown mask, a very classic sad or hobo clown. Once again, it is a somewhat rare mask. They do pop up from time to time, and ever since I made the video on mine, I have seen a lot of people going after these and acquiring them for their collections. This was used by a crew member at a Slipknot show in the early days, I think 99, maybe on the Ozfest tour, or right before the Ozfest tour. There are some pretty well-known photos of Jim and Mick attacking this guy, who everybody thinks is a fan, but it's actually just a behind-the-scenes backstage crew member. He rushes onto the stage with one of these masks on, and they end up taking him out, and I think they did that at multiple shows. And I also believe that his had the hair removed, so he had a bald one. This one is in mint condition, and I didn't really want to remove the hair, so I just left it alone. I do like to keep vintage, old, rare masks in good shape if possible. I don't really believe in converting a lot of stuff, especially if there's recasts available, and as far as I know, there's no recasts available of this, but it's also not a super desired item because it is an oddball, and not a lot of people collect oddballs. So that's my story on this one. Next up is a pretty well-known oddball. This is a slam dummy, and this was worn by Corey Taylor in studio, and he also wore another variation of this later around 2011 for that Memorial tour, where they did a couple festival shows in like memory of Paul Gray, and they all tried to do their old get-ups. He actually had a converted version of this meant to look like the old 99 dummy, but he did not wear it that long. I think he only did a couple shows with it, and only for like half the show, because he just didn't like how it felt, and to be honest, it looks pretty fucking stupid. But yeah, I think the most well-known photo of Corey wearing this is in a studio somewhere, and I believe that he was recording for Straight Up. There's this really stupid rumor that I would like to dismiss because it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and that is that Corey was actually re-recording vocals for the Disaster Piece DVD, and that just blows my fucking mind, because I think anybody that knows anything about music could watch that DVD and know that those vocals are from the actual live performance. They may have been doctored up post, but they weren't re-recorded. That is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So no, Corey did not re-record vocals for Disaster Pieces, and he definitely did not re-record Disaster Pieces vocals with this mask on. So yeah, the Slam Dummy. This one was in my original Oddball collection video, and it is probably one of, if not the most well-known Oddball mask. I'm like looking around now to make sure that it is one of the most well-known. I'd say it's pretty comparable to like the Hobo mask. I think the same amount of people know about the Hobo mask as this one. If you don't know about the Hobo mask, that'll make sense here in a little bit. Alright, so here is another newer Oddball, and this is actually a Sean Crahan Oddball. This was seen in an Instagram photo from 2014, 2015-ish, maybe even 2016. Somewhere in the Gray Chapter touring cycle, Clown actually has this weird witch mask safety pinned to the back of one of his black .5 masks, and Sid is in the photo with him, and it's a very strange thing. I've always had a weird fascination with double face masks. Thanks, curator. And yeah, it's weird. I think probably a fan threw this on stage. I've never seen any other photos of it or any footage, so I don't think that he wore it live, but it definitely made for a strange look, and I believe that these are semi-rare. I've only seen one other one, but the good news is that they're vinyl, so they're definitely out there floating around. I don't know how popular they are, and I don't even remember what company actually makes them. It doesn't appear to have any stamps or tags or anything anywhere, but I'm assuming there's more than a handful out there, so if you guys feel like tracking one down, just keep looking up witch masks on eBay, and I'm sure that they'll pop up. Here is probably my favorite Oddball at the moment. This one was definitely the biggest pain in the ass, and that is simply because we couldn't identify it. There is plenty of footage of this mask seen side stage at Slipknot shows just as like a piece of decoration or something. They always had it on speakers over by Chris and Craig, sometimes even by Joey, but the footage is all so bad that we could not figure out what it was, so we went through this big guessing game of trying to match masks up to this one based on the terrible pics and footage. And then we finally figured it out. I believe Mike Covert was the one that figured it out, and within a couple weeks we had found one, but this is the only one that we've ever seen. It is an unidentified Reagan mask. There's literally no stamps or markings, and it is latex, so it makes me wonder how old it is because it's still in perfect condition. It's just thin, old, cheap latex, and it's pretty crazy to me that it hasn't rotted. But yeah, it is a super strange mask. Not sure why they had Reagan on the side of the stage, and not sure why they chose one of the creepiest Reagan masks in the world to display, but maybe that is the actual reason. So yeah, we went through a bunch of different masks trying to figure this one out, and we were dead ass certain that it was an Al Bundy mask, and then a few weeks went by and we actually figured out that this one matches up a lot better, and yeah, definitely it. Very happy to have this one in my collection for sure. So this one is a pretty interesting one. This is worn by Jay Weinberg, and it is the only replica Slipknot mask that is an oddball. So it's a Slipknot mask that's trying to be another Slipknot mask, if that makes any sense. Jay Weinberg actually wore this when he was a kid. You can see him in multiple backstage photos wearing this mask, and this is a Jeremy Bohr dummy mask, and these were sold way back when on eBay and stuff, and I think Jeremy Bohr actually got in trouble for selling these, and they are pretty fucking rare. I don't think that anybody had a desire to own any of these, but I think a lot of people had them. They're just not that great of a mask, but once again, when everybody found out that Jay Weinberg actually wore one of these, and it became an oddball mask, everybody wanted one, and once again, only a handful of these are out there. I can only think of 2 or 3 other collectors that have them in their sets, but it's definitely a cool one. I love watching people get confused when I post my Jay Weinberg collection and I say that this is his first mask, because a bunch of fucking noobs want to say, it's a Corey Taylor mask. They just don't get it. But that's why I make these videos, trying to educate you guys. Here is another grail of an oddball. This is the only copy in the world. Even the one that Slipknot used doesn't exist anymore. And this is actually a Craig Jones mask, and I have seen the footage of Craig using this mask. He did wear this at least once in the MFKR days, and like I said, footage exists, but it has been locked away. No one fucking has it except for some rare old video trader guy, and he does not want the footage out there for whatever reason. But there is a photo of Clown holding this mask, and it is rotten and there's stuff stuck to it. And yeah, I was definitely on the hunt for this one for a very long time, and unfortunately the only one that I could find was one that was very much rotting. It is not in good shape whatsoever, but it is what it is, and the weirdest thing about that is that it's still tagged. Now please do not confuse this with a Licorice Clown. While they are the same sculpt, they were made by different companies and they have different paint jobs. This one never had any hair attached, and it is black and red. The Licorice Clown had different strips of hair attached to it and was painted blue and red. I think what had happened was the Great Cover-Up, which is the company that created this mask, closed down and all of their molds got parted out to other different companies that bought them. And then we had that Licorice Clown that was sold at different stores like Party City later on. So yeah, only one in the world. Definitely happy to have this one. Even though it's rotting, I always had plans to get it foam filled, but the rot hasn't actually gotten any worse since I got it, so I never got around to it. But one day I will try to have a restoration done on this piece. I probably should stop putting it off because it's not getting any better, that's for sure. But yeah, great cover-up, Craig Clown. Speaking of Craig Jones, we're going to go ahead and get this Werewolf out of the way because this is a pretty notorious mask for Craig Jones. Again, this was worn at least once in the MFKR days. Thankfully, MFKR1 has posted photos of this and they've had them online for a very long time, so we actually have proof that Craig wore it. And yeah, it's definitely different than anything he's ever worn before. Typically, when people think of Craig, they think of spikes. Prior to the spikes, he just had the Sinclair helmet with no spikes in it, and prior to that, he had this thing. He's even been known to just wear pantyhose over his face. And that's when he played guitar for Slipknot. Wonder how many people are going to tell me I'm wrong about that one. Anyways, yeah, definitely a classic old mask. It is a Topstone Wolf. They are pretty rare. I think typically when they go up on eBay, they'll go between $75 and $150, depending on who sees it and how badly someone wants one, and they are latex, so they do rot. Very cheaply made old mask. And I'm not sure which one came first, but Be Something Studios has this exact same sculpt. So someone recasted and retooled someone else's work, and now we have a bunch of different werewolves that are from this design. Topstone actually produced a shitload of different designs that look almost identical to this, but there's slight changes in the sculpt, different teeth sizes and numbers. It's a very strange thing. I'm not sure why they didn't just stick to one, but it is what it is. So yeah, a lot of people go after the Be Something Studios ones and think that they've got the right mask, but they are incorrect. It is a Topstone, and it is this paint job specifically with this collared hair. So I've had a few of these in my collection, but I keep just not wanting more than one. But I recently acquired a second copy, and it is in the Oddball set. So I have one in the Oddball set and one in my Craig Jones collection, and I would like to start doing that for different members that wore things that are well known. A lot of Oddballs aren't well known pieces, so they can just sit in their own things, but if they are well known pieces, I'd like to have them in the lineup with the actual members' masks as well. Alright, moving on to another pretty cool one. I was definitely excited to get this because I had been looking for a very long time. This is the bat creature that was used in the Spit It Out music video. It's supposed to be a reference to The Shining, where the guy is in the bear suit and he is sucking that one guy's wiener. In this video, the bat creature is sucking Paul's wiener, and he looks up and he's got like this Winnie the Pooh bear outfit on. I would love to find that outfit and pair him up because it looks even fucking creepier coming out of a bear hood. But yeah, I've got a beautiful copy, still tagged. As you can see, it says Bram Stoker's Dracula mask, and this is the bat creature, and this thing is super fucking old. I believe that Cinema Secrets was the ones that made these, and then it was distributed through Morris Costumes because it doesn't actually say Cinema Secrets on the tag. It says Morris Costumes, and there's no stamps or anything. It just says Columbia Pictures on the back, who owns the right to the movies. So yeah, it's a very weird one, and the weird thing about that is that Cinema Secrets always offered like different tiers of qualities of the masks. So they would have like a base model, and then there's one that has a crazier paint job than this and hair stuck to it. But yeah, I believe that this is the one that was used in the Spit It Out music video, and that is because the paint is very flat, it's not super detailed, and it was cheaper. So chances are if they were going to use that mask for anything, they would want to go as cheap as possible. But yeah, just a super cool mask. It's definitely a different looking mask for the Oddball set, that's for sure. Getting closer to the end here, we have this weird Don Post pigtails mask, and these were sold at pretty much anywhere that Don Post masks were sold in the early 2000s. I know a lot of people said that they remember seeing this at Kmart back in the day and thought that it was really dumb, and I would have to agree with you. I probably never would have bought it unless it was for Slipknot, but it was in fact later used by Slipknot. This was actually used as a prop on stage. They put this on top of a goat head, and it had like an inverted cross on the forehead, and it was just used as like decor on the stage. Nothing super crazy. I think that it was only for like a Germany show, so I'm guessing someone probably threw it on stage and one of the members hung it, and that was that. We've never seen that mask again. It's only in one photo, and I've never seen any footage or anything like that used of it. But yeah, another interesting one. I feel like all of these are so drastically different from each other that I could say that each one of these pieces is an interesting piece. Next up, we have the Merry Clown mask, and I actually just did a video on this 2 or 3 days ago. This one isn't mine, but I am currently looking for another copy to have in my collection. I do have a mint condition tagged copy up in my Michael Myers collection because this is a very classic clown mask that was used for a multitude of different things, one of them being a Halloween movie. Halloween Resurrection to be exact. One of them being Tales from the Crypt, Season 2, Episode 9, I believe. One of them being Slipknot. Now, in my video, I said that Clown was wearing this mask, and that's because I matched it up to the outfit that he was wearing on stage from that same set of photos, but it turns out that it is not Clown wearing that mask. But after I made that video, we did some digging, and we actually found a photo of Clown and this guy together. So whoever the fuck is wearing this, whether it's a crew member or just a fan, it is not Sean. So I apologize for the incorrect information, but at least I can own up to my mistakes. And now only if your mom would own up to hers. So yeah, Merry Clown mask. This is a vintage Caesar mask. It is made of vinyl, and these are pretty fucking rare and sought after, so if you see one, send it to me. Just kidding. But seriously, send it to me. If you don't want to keep it, just send it my way and I'll take very good care of it. Alright, I believe that we are getting down to the final 3 copies. I'm kind of looking around my room to make sure. And I probably do have other ones that I'm just forgetting about, but I knew that I didn't want to take forever to get this video out, so I just came down here on my day off and decided to shoot it. I'm doing my best, I'm really trying, and I apologize if I've missed anything. So we've got 3 more, and this is the Paper Magic Group Monk Mask, and it is vinyl once again. They are not as rare as you'd think. I do see these pop up on eBay from time to time, and I even see collectors that have doubles or triples that are trying to sell theirs. I've had 3 of these at one time, so if you're looking to start an oddball collection, this would be a fantastic place to start. They don't go for very much. I think they sell for like 50 to 60 bucks, and you could probably find them on eBay for cheaper than that if you really tried. This is a Sid Wilson oddball, and I have no idea why he's wearing this mask, but he's in like a clown costume, wearing this mask, showing off his Transformer toys. A very strange thing, but it's pretty Sid, so yeah, ugly monk mask, definitely a derpy, stupid fucking looking design. I honestly wish that he was wearing something else in that photo because this is just a really stupid mask. Next up, we have a mask from my all-time favorite mask company, Distortions Unlimited. This is a vintage mini alien mask, and this comes from the Mini Monsters line. And this was purchased at MaskFest, and it is definitely a weird one. I think someone was selling this secondhand, and they do still make copies, or at least they did up until a couple years ago. And you can just tell the difference between a vintage and a new one. The paint looks completely different, and it is what it is. Obviously, I want a vintage copy because that is the one that Slipknot used. And as far as Slipknot using it, this is just another side stage mask. If you watch the live Dynamo video that is on the Of the Sick DVD, you can clearly see this mask on the side stage next to Chris Fain's kit, and it's just hanging out. I don't know why it's there. Another mask with no explanation, but I'm always down for Distortion stuff, and if you combine Distortions and Slipknot, you've got gold. So this is a mini alien from the Mini Monsters line, Distortions Unlimited. You still can find vintage copies out there. They definitely exist. But if you don't want to wait and don't want to hunt around, you can still find the new copies very easily. Just post in a couple groups. I'm sure that somebody will sell you one. All right, last but not least for me today is going to be the vintage West German Hobo mask. There is a super common misconception that Sid Wilson is the one wearing this mask, and that is not true. Sid Wilson is not wearing this mask. I'm not going to tell you who is wearing this mask because I've been sworn to secrecy by an elite group of Slipknot mask collectors, but it's not Sid Wilson, so please stop spreading false information. If you were not at that show and didn't see Sid Wilson take this mask off, you do not know that it is Sid Wilson. That is false information, and that is not what we are trying to do here. Another very classic mask. This is the vintage West German Hobo, and this is vinyl, and you can definitely tell a vintage West German piece because look at this thing. The style is identical to the vintage West German clowns, and I have a beautiful fucking copy here. The paintwork on this thing is awesome. I love the purples and stuff that are on there as like the bruising effect or whatever. But yeah, as far as Slipknot mask collecting goes, this is an oddball because it is used by somebody at an MFKR show. You can see them crouched down by the turntables. I think that's probably why people confuse this for Sid Wilson so much. But if you look at the fucking jumpsuit, you can clearly tell that Sid Wilson did not wear jumpsuits that slim. He's also seen in the crowd. Probably another reason that people confuse this for Sid, but I'm going to let you guys know that I've seen Joey crowd surf, I've seen Chris crowd surf, and I've even seen Paul crowd surf. Sid was not the only one to get into the crowds in those early days, so not a Sid Wilson mask. Definitely a Slipknot oddball, but not a Sid Wilson mask. Alright, well there you have it. We finally made it through. Like I said, this might not be all the oddballs in my collection, but it is all the oddballs in my oddball collection. Clearly a lot of different masks could be considered oddballs. I've done a bunch of Volume 3 clowns for my set that I've only ever seen clown wearing once for one photo or one piece of footage, but those are in my Volume 3 clown set, so I'm not really going to consider those here. I'm more or less looking for the oddballs that are like store-bought masks from the older days, but I think everybody has a slightly different idea of what can be considered an oddball. These are just the ones that I have in my oddball set and the ones that I consider oddballs for myself. Take a drink of your Capri Sun every time I say oddball in this video. So yeah, that is my update for now. I'm sure that in another couple years we're going to end up doing another oddball update as more and more footage comes out and as more and more masks are found. I really enjoy oddball collecting, so it is what it is. I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon, and I can't wait to have a proper display for all of these oddball masks together. So I think that's going to just about do it for this video. I am going to set all of these guys up together and let you get a nice look at all of them as a group, and that will be that. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you very, very much for watching, and until next time, we will see you later. Oh, and say no to drugs and alcohol. I don't know how I forgot that part.